What if I told you that behind some of the biggest, most revolutionary fields today, I mean, we're talking about artificial intelligence, even the very foundations of modern biology, what if a huge chunk of that traces back to the work of one single, brilliant thinker that most of us have never even heard of? Well, let's dig in and uncover this hidden history.
Okay, so think about the most cutting-edge ideas of our time, right? AI that can learn and adapt, algorithms that literally evolve, and our deep, complex understanding of life itself. We're talking genetic algorithms, neural nets, mathematical biology, the whole shebang. It seems pretty much impossible that one person could have laid crucial groundwork in all of them. But, well, somebody did. His name was Hans J. Bremermann. And in this explainer, we're going to piece together how his incredible life journey led him to insights that are, frankly, only now being fully appreciated. Insights that are actively shaping the world we live in today.
So, to really get inside the mind of Hans Bremermann, you have to start by understanding the world that forged him. And that world was one of complete and utter chaos. Bremermann was born in Germany in 1926, and that means he was thrown right into a period of hyperinflation, civil unrest, and just total economic collapse. He saw the Great Depression absolutely shatter his country. He witnessed the rise of the Nazis, and then he lived through the horrifying aftermath of World War II, which left his home city and its university in literal ruins. And this quote right here, it just perfectly captures his whole motivation. Imagine growing up in a world where everything felt unstable, treacherous, and unpredictable. He found his refuge in the one place where logic and order always reigned supreme. For Bremermann, math wasn't just some subject in school, it was, in his own words, a haven of truth. That lifelong search for truth would eventually take him all the way from the chaos of post-war Germany to the United States. And it's there that he would come face to face with a brand new kind of machine, one that would force his abstract search for truth to collide with the hard, physical limits of the real world. So, in the 1950s, he lands at Princeton's Institute for Advanced Study. I mean, this was the place to be. And while he was there, he got his hands on a machine that most of John von Neumann's colleagues just dismissed as a toy. It was one of the world's very first electronic computers, the MANIAC. The story behind how this machine actually worked is it's incredible. So Bremermann writes this simple program with a repeating loop, but there was a huge catch. See, these early computers ran on vacuum tubes, and if you hit the same memory location too many times in a row, those tubes would literally start to glow white hot. Their solution? They had a human operator whose only job was to sit there, watch for glowing tubes, and then slam a panic button to stop the program from physically melting down. I mean, can you imagine? This experience, watching a computer almost melt, sparked a really profound insight. Bremermann realized that computation wasn't just abstract math floating in space, it was a physical process. And because it was physical, it had to have physical limits. He was one of the very first people to argue that there is a hard cap on how fast we can ever compute anything, a limit dictated by the fundamental laws of the universe, like the speed of light. And today, we call this Bremermann's limit. Now, facing this ultimate physical limit, Bremermann didn't just see a dead end. No, instead he started looking for a workaround. He figured if brute force computation has its limits, then maybe there's a smarter, more clever way to solve problems, a way inspired by the most powerful problem solver he knew. Nature itself. He asked this stunningly simple, yet totally revolutionary question. I mean, think about it. Evolution over billions of years has produced these incredibly complex and ridiculously optimized solutions to problems. So why not just copy its playbook? Why not teach a computer how to evolve its own solutions? And that is exactly what he did. He worked with his colleague Woody Bledsoe, and together they created a process we now call a genetic algorithm. It's genius. They took the core principles of evolution, selection, mutation, and recombination, and they translated them into code. You start with a whole population of possible solutions, you select the best ones, you randomly tweak them a little bit, and then you mix them together to create new and hopefully better offspring. It was a completely new way of thinking about computation. So this deep dive into thinking about evolution as a problem-solving algorithm, well, it led Bremermann to tackle one of the greatest, most persistent mysteries in all of biology. The question is this: why does sexual reproduction even exist?
I know, it seems kind of obvious, but when you look at it from a purely mathematical and evolutionary standpoint, it is a huge puzzle. Because here's the paradox, right? An organism that reproduces asexually, just by cloning itself, has a massive 2-to-1 reproductive advantage. A single parent can make an offspring all by itself, while a sexual pair needs two individuals to do the same job. So you have to ask, why would evolution ever favor such an inefficient system?
Well, Bremermann's answer was both elegant and incredibly powerful. The real reason for sex isn't about some long-term evolutionary goal or creating variety for its own sake. Nope. It's about day-to-day survival in a constant, high-stakes arms race happening at the microscopic level. So here's how it works. Tiny parasites, like viruses and bacteria, evolve thousands upon thousands of times faster than their hosts do. So an asexual host that just clones itself is basically a sitting duck. It's a static, unchanging genetic target that parasites can quickly learn to exploit. But sex shuffles the genetic deck every single generation. It creates new combinations of defenses, new molecular locks and keys. It essentially allows the offspring to reset the molecular clock and stay one step ahead of their rapidly evolving attackers. It's a defense mechanism. So, from the physical limits of computation to evolutionary algorithms to the very meaning of sex, all of Bremermann's work was connected by a single, powerful philosophy about how we should try to understand our world. See, he didn't believe that you could just reduce the messy, complicated reality of biology down to a few neat and tidy equations, the way you might be able to in physics. He saw the biological world as a jungle, and he argued that the only way to navigate it wasn't by trying to find one single perfect theory, but by building mathematical models and using computation to explore all the possible paths. And his impact becomes crystal clear when you just look at who he mentored. Bremermann wasn't just a lone researcher. He was this incredible hub, a connector at UC Berkeley. I mean, just look at the wild range of fields his PhD students came from. Math, biophysics, electrical engineering, computer science, even zoology. He created a space where people from completely different disciplines could come together and tackle the world's most complex problems. Which really brings us to a final and, I think, crucial thought. Today, right now, we are grappling with challenges that Bremermann saw coming decades ago, building intelligent machines and fighting off rapidly evolving pathogens. So his work leaves us with this vital question. What new breakthroughs might we find if we followed his lead and stopped seeing these as separate problems, but started seeing them for what they are? Two sides of the exact same fundamental puzzle of complexity.